Welcome one and all, my name is Tawess and we're back today with a tiny little review, first impression thing of Thor Ragnarok. A movie that for all intents and purposes should not work. I mean, it's stupid, it's irreverent, it is sometimes slightly insulting and, well, really shouldn't work. But for some weird reason, much like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, it does work. And I guess in a way just for the same reasons, because it takes the whole superhero movie thing and puts it on the head. Because I mean, you have a movie about a huge green monster and a god and his adoptive brother. You can't really make a serious movie at that. They tried with Thor 2 and that was an awful train wreck. So now, Thor 3, they reined it back, they took the smarter approach and they decided to actually, for all intents and purposes, make a action movie in the classic sense. This is a sort of 90s action movie. Great set pieces. It has colorful characters, very colorful language for being a Disney movie. There is an abundance of foul language in it. Never to the level where it becomes absurd or feel completely out of place, but it's in there. Now, for those who don't care about spoilers, if you do care about spoilers, you can stop now. The story goes thusly: Thor, Loki, and Big Papa Odin reconvene after fuck is my language. Right. In Norway, after Thor has returned to Asgard and picked up Loki as the imposter Odin, and then, well, it's daddy die time. This is part of the whole passing the Odin force, and turns out that Odin had another child, Hel, or Hela, depending on which language you like to use, which is a goddess of death. Or more precisely, she is the goddess of the underworld. But in this case it means angry lady with necrotic powers. She can raise dead and all that. Very handy. She also throws a lot of spears, swords and spiky objects. It's kind of cool. But yeah, so turns out she's released when the Odin force weakens. Odin dies. And then we have the classic humbling of Thor, where you have seen the trailer, you've seen the scene where she shatters his hammer, and he is kicked to the other side of the universe and lands on Scar. For those familiar with the Hulk miniseries, was Hulk World. Anyway, basically he finds that Hulk has crashed landed on this planet, become a gladiator, and has basically this relegated banner to the trunk of the car. And this is the first time I think you actually get some proper character development for Hulk. Not just Banner, but Hulk. Seeing how he is portrayed more like someone who has a development variation than actually a mindless brute. He is still a very childish character, but it's more like someone who has not developed a full set of personality traits for an adult yet. He's rambunctious, naive, but still kind in his heart. And of course he's still a Hulk, so he likes to smash things, but it's nice to see they actually get some development. Thor, of course, gets his whole the humblings of the humbles. He basically has the shit beaten out of him, both emotionally, physically, and, well, ideologically. Ideology? Well, it's his ideology. His worldview is beaten the hell out of. There's a cute cameo scene in the beginning with when he ends up with Doctor Strange in the Sanctum Sanctorum for a short while, where they play off the gag of him having his hammer transformed into an umbrella, which is adorable. This happens before it gets destroyed, of course, but yeah, it's a brilliant scene. It's a well-needed humor. And then it's pretty much he meets Valkyrie, and then they go into an uneasy alliance, and they come back to Asgard trying to stop Ragnarok, and well, everything just ends up going tits up, basically. And movie caps out this sort of Asgard is not a place but people, an ideology, a culture, a society, and as such they can actually take it with them, which of course in a way is a blatant lie, because it was also definitely a place, but you know, it is what it is. So that was pretty much the story, capitalized in a sort of condensed form. It also sets up for the exit of Mark Ruffalo as Banner, since he basically has this whole side thing of him and not being able to turn back into Banner, which is a thing from the whole comics for a while. They have played with that theme a few different times. And I think it's okay. You can't continue to do a role forever, and this way they can use his likeness, which they have the rights to. It's also a way of exiting Hemsworth as Thor, because basically now they need to reforge a new Mjolnir, and since he's now the one carrying the Odin Force, they don't call it the Odin Force in the movie, but that is what it's called in the comics, and he's de facto the king of the Asgardians. He can't exactly be gallivanting around with the Avengers every now and then. Every now and then I guess he can, but not all the time. So that sets up for his exit. It's a lot of exits right now, because you're moving into the final chapter of the old guard, so to speak, which will be Infinity Gauntlet arc. And when that's done, I guess we see the exit of a lot of old Avengers characters and introducing a bunch of new ones. But, well, as I said, this movie shouldn't work. Jokes shouldn't work, but somehow they do. And I had a lot of genuine laughter in the theater when I saw this. And it was not just Marvel fans there. This was not an opening day. So it was good to see that I actually reached out to people, drew laughs. Of course, Bondread was fairly crude. You have a big twirly vortex dimensional portal thing they call the Devil's Anus. But here's the thing, they played off straight-faced in a way that makes it work, because if you have something called the Devil's Anus, it's so easy to just make that the whole entire joke. But no, the joke is that they all accepted that is what it's called. It's Devil's Anus. And they played off straight-faced, and that makes it funny. Of course you get a lot of Tom Hiddleston being brilliant as Loki, but that of course was not expected. And in the end, it's actually a fairly sympathetic character. He has a nice arc in this movie too. Everyone gets a really nice arc. You even have Valkyrie, which is a new character based on a classic Marvel character is pretty much fallen to the side now. The original one was sort of Brynhilde kind of character, a blonde woman with a sword and a flying Pegasus of all things. She actually got a cameo in this in a flashback scene. You get to see the classic Marvel Valkyrie, in a way handing over the reins to this new one, which is a wonderful character in herself. A belligerently drunk, aggressive lout, basically. There's also a lot of other still nice touches in this movie. Small things that you don't really think about. First and foremost, it is really nice to see diversity in the cast. And, well, I know this is a beaten topic, but it's nice to see both men and women getting ample screen time doing things. You have, just in crowd scenes, you see both the men and women actually taking up arms defending Asgard. And that's nice, because that's usually not how it happens. Usually the men standing in front of the women. But no, here's the women standing in front of the men, sword in hand, ready to defend their land. It doesn't end particularly well for them, but that is what they do. And that is nice. That is always nice. Because representation and all that. Also, you do actually care for the people in the end. You feel for them. And that's nice. It ties together nicely. It's a nice bookend to the Thor arc, where he's in a good place. It's He's a better person. And he is, for all intents and purposes, actually a competent human being again. Because he was a bit of an arse to begin with. That was how it was. Yeah. But it works as a movie. I don't know why it works. It shouldn't work, but it does work. It does hit all those right notes that it shouldn't hit. But at the same time, this is not a movie for everyone. It is not really a superhero movie per se. It's more a action family drama, as expected. And god damn, I realized how high that was. Just quickly move that down a little bit. Yeah, and it does have a lot of plot holes, like a lot of plot holes, but you can't accept them because they do play into the movie in a way. And there's a lot of nods to all the Marvel stories. You have, I mean, the whole setup to begin with is the collector's contest of champions, which is, well, wonderful. It's a sort of very meta event in the comics. So this was before Marvel did big crossover events. Before they did that, they had this sort of intergalactic pan-dimensional cosmic being that just snatched heroes up and put them into an arena and had to fight. And then someone had to save them, and that was the whole setup. That was the crossover. Nowadays, Marvels do crossovers all the time because that's how you make comics sell. You force people to buy all the comics. Because comic sales are going down and it's a dying medium. Unfortunately. But, yeah. So you basically snatch up heroes and this is where Jeff Goldblum in but can only be screamed as Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum on drugs. Anyone in this movie feels like they're on drugs actually. But yeah. Go and see it. It's worth the price of admission. It is a funny movie, it is a heartfelt movie, and it is a movie that makes you go, oh yeah. You don't really know why, but you do it. I mean, just picture this. Mentally, go into your picturing state. And just picture the Hulk power slamming and backdropping the Fenris Wolf. Yeah, let's let it sink in for a moment. And yeah, I think it's not even say more about that. I'm having a cold. So, sorry, keep looking aside, but make sure I'm actually still in focus, at least somewhat. So, should you see this movie? Yes. Even if you're not a superhero fan, you should see this movie. It is brilliant. It's a brilliant movie. Should you expect something deep and, well, mindfully challenging? No. This is the definition of a rather rambunctious action movie. That is all it is, that's all it's ever gonna be, and it's perfectly fine. It does set up nice for the Infinity War arc, but before that we have a few other movies, and it does explain how you should tie in a few other loose franchises like the Guardians. So, go and see it. It will be better than Justice League, that's for sure. Without a doubt. Oh yeah, also worth mentioning, before they ran a trailer for the Black Panther movie. Haven't seen that before. Have somehow missed that one. Looks really good. If the trailer is representative of the movie, which they never are, it will be a good movie too. But, you know what? I'm running out of space on my camera, I see. So, we are going to sign off here. And if you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. If you care about me like I care about you, subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, be kind, and play fair. Bye.